Welcome to the Explainer. So let's just dive right into a really frustrating problem I know we've all faced. You ask an AI for help making a tough decision, right? And what happens? It spits out this long, beautiful, perfectly formatted response that somehow leaves you way more confused than when you started. Well, today, we're going to fix that. We are totally transforming how we interact with AI. We're moving away from just blindly accepting generic, superficial text, and we're going to learn how to build practical, expert-level understanding instead. I mean, seriously, have you ever received an AI answer that reads beautifully, sounds incredibly confident, but literally completely misses the point of what you actually need? We call this the illusion of fluency. The AI basically hands you a response that sounds perfectly right on the surface, but when you dig into it, it's actually deeply wrong in all the ways that matter most to your specific problem. It's kind of like walking through a grocery store and picking up the most beautiful, shiny apple you've ever seen. On the outside, it looks absolutely flawless. But then you bite into it and you find this tangled, mechanical, mushy mess inside. Polished language from an AI is literally just that shiny red skin. It absolutely does not guarantee that the underlying reasoning, the actual core of the answer, is trustworthy or even digestible. So, to get past this illusion of fluency, we have to completely flip our mindset. The golden rule here is stop asking the AI for a better answer and start asking it for a better decision process. We have to stop treating AI like it's just some giant autocomplete machine and start treating it as an actual reasoning partner. Because let's face it, answers are super easy to generate, but real, solid judgment, that has to be deliberately elicited. Okay, so what actually is judgment anyway? At its very foundation, judgment is just weighted reasoning under constraints. An AI model might have access to, a million different facts. But to be truly helpful to you, it has to be able to weigh all that knowledge against specific limits, real-world conditions, and the actual constraints of your problem. Let's make this super concrete. If facts are the raw ingredients, judgment is the actual art of cooking. You can have the absolute freshest vegetables sitting right there on the counter, but without the right order, timing, proportion, and, honestly, restraint, you're just going to end up with a burnt mess. And AI is exactly the same way. Simply listing out true things is not judgment. Judgment is how those true things are skillfully weighed and combined. Any serious decision quality judgment call basically breaks down into 4 core elements. It chooses relevance, handles uncertainty, compares trade-offs, and anticipates failure. Let's look at exactly what these mean in practice, one by one. First up, relevance. Think of this like packing a suitcase for a weekend trip. Space is limited, right? If you pack as though every single item in your house matters equally, you're going to end up with a massive, heavy bag and just terrible choices. Judgment tells you what actually earns a spot. AI often fails here by just listing dozens of true things without distinguishing the absolute central critical factors from all the peripheral noise. Second is uncertainty. Look, real decisions are rarely made with perfect information. Strong judgment treats uncertainty as a vital part of the problem, not just some bug to be hidden away. Think of a doctor making a diagnosis. They don't just ask, hey, what's most likely? No, they ask, what could I be missing and what would be extremely costly if I missed it? If you don't prompt an AI to explicitly name its uncertainty, it'll just flatten reality into this fake, unhelpful confidence. Third, we've got trade-offs. Meaningful choices almost always involve compromise. It's kind of like brewing a cup of tea. If it's too weak, it's unsatisfying. Too strong, and it's super bitter. Your goal isn't just maximum tea. It's finding the right balance for that moment. In business, maybe you really want speed, but speed reduces accuracy. Good judgment sees that every single choice has a cost and balances those competing demands perfectly. And the fourth element is failure. Expert judgment actively asks, how would this break? Think of engineers building a bridge. They don't just ask if it holds up under perfect sunny conditions. They test what happens under extreme load, crazy wind, and completely unexpected stress. When we prompt an AI for judgment, we want it to think exactly like that engineer, anticipating failure, not like a salesperson just pitching perfection. All right, so how do we practically get the AI to actually do this? Well, we have to apply what we call reasoning pressure. Because left to its own devices, AI will absolutely take shortcuts. You need to apply 3 specific pressures in your prompts. First, pressure to compare. Literally, force it to rank options against each other. Second, pressure to justify. Make it explain why certain evidence matters more than other data. And third, pressure to reveal failure. Ask it bluntly, what would make this conclusion completely fall apart? Better AI reasoning isn't about getting a longer answer. It's about forcing structure under pressure. Now, doing this requires a massive mental shift for us. We really need to stop treating AI like an oracle, where you just whisper a question into a crystal ball and passively wait to receive the truth. Instead, we need to treat it like a courtroom. In a courtroom, claims have to be rigorously argued, evidence has to be weighed against the alternatives, and weak points must be totally exposed. Your prompts should create a setting where the AI can't just casually pronounce an answer. It literally has to actively defend it. Let's actually see this in action. Say you're choosing a new software vendor for your business. A weak prompt just gives you a really quick answer, spitting out all these unranked facts with super high confidence. But a strong prompt, that gives you a decision-shaped output. It forces the AI to compare upfront costs against, say, support reliability. It separates short-term savings from long-term risk. It tests its own conclusion against the alternatives. It literally earns your confidence by showing its own limits and exposing exactly why the choice is so hard in the first place. Which brings us to our absolute biggest takeaway for this explainer. A strong prompt does not demand certainty. It designs the conditions for better judgment. You are no longer just a passive reader of AI outputs. Okay? You are the architect designing the reasoning behind them. So the next time you open up an AI tool, I want you to ask yourself a serious question. Are you just lazily asking for an easy answer, or are you deliberately designing a process to reveal the truth?